So, renowned constitutional lawyer and state counsel John Sangwa had an interview last night on Emmanuel Mwamba Verified. And in that interview, they were discussing the elephant in the room right now in our country. The push and pull between the late President Edgar Chagwa Lungu's family and the Republic of Zambia, or let's say the state. And what Counsel Sangwa said is what I thought about and many other people have been thinking about, but we didn't want to come out to say, at least personally, I didn't want to come out and say, for obvious reasons. So let's get into that. So during the interview, Counsel Sangwa straight out the gate said, there is no law in Zambia for state funerals. What we are seeing is not law, it is courtesy, and a courtesy can be rejected. And he's right. What the state has been doing with the last 5 state funerals has been courtesy. It's the state just recognizing that the deceased once held office and served this country, and it is only polite to hold a state funeral when they die. So, but that's the thing. It's not law. Umuchinshi can be rejected by the family, meaning the family can say how they want the funeral to be, especially if the deceased left specific instructions on what they want at the state funeral. Let's continue. So, Counsel Sangwa went further and referenced the case of the late President Dr. Levi Patrick Mwanawasa, who left a will requesting that he should be buried at his farm when he dies, which the state ignored. And that was unlawful. We have a Wills and Administration Act. Not even a president should override a citizen's last will and statement. This is the act Counsel Sangwa is talking about, the Wills and Administration of State Estates Act. Let's continue. Going further into it, in the current dispute, Sangwa said Mrs. Esther Lungu, the former First Lady, and the children are the rightful custodians of President Lungu's final wishes. These are the ones in charge and not the state at this point, right? So suggesting otherwise is unlawful. Counsel Sangwa went further and said, we must emulate Tanzania. They have rules, we have circulars, but circulars are not law, favors are not law. Yes, Tanzania has a law that actually deals with this problem. It's called the National Leaders Funerals Act of 2006, and Tanzania did a fantastic job in enacting this law. How it works is that it compels the government or the state to hold a state funeral and handle everything that is required in that state funeral when a sitting president dies or a former head of state or key government officials, when they die, it will handle them. Okay, so now budget, burial site, how the funeral will go, who's going to attend, everything, what's going to happen. This act compels the government to handle everything. We do not have this in Zambia. We should be having it. Do not force your presence where it is not welcome. If the family doesn't want you there, honor that. Support them from a distance. That's leadership. Sangwa concluded with a plea for unity and compassion. The people who are hurting most are the widow and children. Everything else, how we feel, how the president feels, is secondary. Let us do right by the family and then fix this mess once and for all. I couldn't agree more. You see, the more the government forces this issue, the longer the family will drag this out. Because at the end of the day, the state has no power in terms of law to actually try and force this to happen in the direction that they see fit. The family is in charge at this point. So the best the state can do is step aside and let the family do what they want. In as much as we may whine and complain, they are the family. To them, he was more than President Lungu. To them, he was a father, a husband, an uncle, so on and so forth. But I understand why the state is so persistent, because it's embarrassing, in my opinion. It's embarrassing for them. Can you imagine that Everybody else, all the 20 million Zambians are invited to the funeral and the body viewing, except you. You, one person. And for President Hichilema, it's putting him in an awkward position given that he cannot attend his predecessor's funeral. Alone, him, lone wolf, the entire country is the only one who's not invited. That's wild. But at the end of the day, that's what President Lungu's wish was, and there's nothing else he can do about that, right? Let me know in the comment section what you think. Otherwise, good morning.
You have heard that powerful summary from Chavota Mwitwa. What else do you want to hear? The family needs to be accorded the utmost respect. Their wishes and feelings, plus the deceased wishes. There is nothing to beat about. We don't need to be going back and forth. Thank you so much, Chavota, for summarizing this to every Zambian to understand how the Tanzanians have even an act and a law, whilst in Zambia we have seculars. This is powerful.